Dort. This is Lee Dort, and I'm down to dunk. This is Lee Dort, and I'm down to Dort.
I'm Josh Giddey, and I'm down to dunk.
Hey, this is Kenny Hustle, and I'm down to dunk.
I'm Darius Baisley, and I'm down to dunk.
I'm Mike Muscala, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Poku, and I'm down to dunk.
I love cereal. Captain Crunch, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Cracklin' Oat Bran.
Oh, I can have these? I'm going to share with my team, but I'm going to hog most of them.
Welcome to Down to Dunk. I'm your host, Andrew Schleck. We're part of the Athletic Podcast Network. With me, as always, on Wednesdays, is my good friend, Alex Spears. Alex, what's up?
Oh, what's up, Andrew?
Another Wednesday, Al. Just another Wednesday.
Another Wednesday. We're getting to see the extended roster, Andrew. We're in the extended roster section of the season.
A lot of exploration happening right now. Speaking of that, let's talk about the injury report for today against the Nuggets. They play in Denver, and they have Lou Dort out, left shoulder strain. I don't know when the strain happened, but it is strained. Josh Giddey out, hip soreness, right hip soreness. Ty Jerome out, left hip soreness. Michael Scala out, right ankle soreness. Jeremiah Robinson Earl, right foot, third metatarsal fracture, out. Aaron Wiggins, right ankle sprain. Saw it happen.
That was nasty.
Looked painful. Same ankle that he rolled before.
Yeah.
And then Kenrich Williams out, left knee sprain. Now, when Mark has been asked about these injuries, he has said that these aren't day to day, like none of them. And we don't get a lot of information about them.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like any of these guys are particularly close to coming back anytime soon. So it's quite an adventure out there when your point of attack defender is Vit Krejci.
Yeah, it is tough. And on the offensive side, it's like I'm paying attention to what Trey's doing one-on-one. I'm paying attention to what SGA is doing one-on-one.
Yeah.
But like the rest of it, like I can't. I just like it doesn't matter.
Future of these other fellows.
Like if I could bring one guy back, obviously it would have to be Giddey. Because if Giddey was just out there, we'd be doing some more SGA Giddey exploration, and I would be perfectly satisfied. That's all I really need. That's all I really wanted for the rest of this season. I just want to get more minutes of that pairing.
Yep.
Try out some different stuff. See if we can get Shea some catch and shoot looks. That's all. That's all I really wanted. And we're not even getting that, which is fine because Trey's been making up for it. But and Shea for that matter. But yeah, I would just bring. I hope Giddey is not out the rest of the season. That would be a huge bummer.
It would be a huge bummer. I don't know.
It's not day to day. It could be year to year, Andrew.
Yeah. We'll see you in 2024, Josh Giddey.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I would hope that he would be back. I think he would be back. I don't remember an injury happening in the game, so I don't know when it happened or what happened or why he's sore. I don't know. I have no idea. But it will make this next stretch a lot easier. It'll be a lot easier to lose games. That's
See,
for sure.
I don't even know if that's true, Andrew. Which I'll come back. I'll come back to that.
You can come back to it, but the end of that Kings game, things unraveled quickly.
They did
quickly.
And credit to the Kings for blowing out a team and me still feeling awful about the team. Like if I was a Kings fan watching that game, like that, I did not come away from that game feeling like, oh, my team just blew out the Thunder. It did not. They did.
They did at the very end, but for 40 minutes, they had like no pop.
Yeah.
Them at all. It was, I've seen a lot of bad performances this season. A lot of them, not only from the Thunder, but from a lot of other teams. And that was one of the worst. I mean, they weren't running any crisp actions, and you could tell that by just looking at the stat sheet, where you see Domas at halftime's got like 5 shots and like all these turnovers, and they couldn't do anything with the Thunder defense. And like the Thunder didn't have any like good to elite defenders in there at all. It was just a scheme. They played it well, and they played hard, like they played really crisp. And the Kings are out there going through the motions, and it has to be so frustrating because they finally like made a trade. They changed the team. It's like, man, you can't take the Kings out of the Kings, man. Like the Kings are just the Kings.
Like that game, it was like when we play some of these teams that are really good, where they'll just kind of like mess around for 3 quarters and then turn it on.
A few weeks ago.
Yeah. Except the difference is like the Kings haven't made the playoffs in 16 years. Like, why are they playing like this? They should be using every single minute to figure out like how this Fox Sabonis thing's going to work, like who pairs best on the existing roster with them. And it just felt so lifeless for so much of that game.
It was so bad.
There's some funny, I don't know how many Kings people you follow, but there's some funny back and forths today. Dave Carmichael, who's one of their like local radio guys.
Yeah.
Beefing with some fans, and it's good stuff. I've been checking in on that today.
What is the beef about?
There's obviously a subset of Kings fans who watch games like that and don't just look at the final score and say like, is this team even closer to, like, are they closer to the playoffs than they were a month ago?
Right.
Even looking ahead to next season, are they really? And then you see what Halliburton's been doing in Indiana, and it's like, would it really have been that much worse? Like, would our playoff odds really have gone down that much if we just kept Halliburton? I mean, that's what this is all about, making the playoffs. Now, they still have the summer to figure out something. I mean, there's obviously huge deficiencies on this Kings roster. And if they happen to bring in some defenders and maybe a rim runner or something, I mean, Rashawn Holmes is kind of that, but he's not going to probably be playing with Sabonis. If they have an opportunity to make the team better, and it could potentially make sense. It just doesn't yet make sense. But they're just stressed because they made not necessarily like an all-in move, but like sort of an all-in move. Like they shrunk their timeline.
Trading a rookie scale player for a guy who's on a big contract. I mean, it's a pretty all-in move.
And when you do that, you want to see, even if they don't make the playoffs, like you want to see, okay, we have like something here. In games like that against OKC, like 80% of it was just like, what's the plan here?
Yeah. I was sitting with Joe Masato at the game, and I was like, you know what? I think if they just somehow switched rosters with the Kings, this Thunder team would be like the 6th seed. You know?
You mean, if those players were just coached by Mark?
If those players were in the Thunder ethos, and coached by Mark Daignault, I feel like they're talented. Like they've got a lot of guys that would play on a lot of playoff teams. You know, that's like one of the things that we judge the man, dude, guy rankings. Like, could they play on a playoff team? They happen to have several guys that could go and play for any playoff team right now.
Yeah,
and
they do.
They just can't get it together. It's just very Kings. Like the whole thing is very Kings. Everybody got excited about Domas after game 1, and it's like, just wait. Just wait. They're gonna be the Kings again. Don't worry.
They need I think they need a new coach, but like a coach who is just like all encompassing. Like he brings a level of like he brings culture with him. Like they can't just go out there and hire like a first timer or something and bring him into that Kings organization. Like you have to bring someone who can change it on his own. I don't know who that is or who would want that. There has to be someone.
You're one Tibbs after he gets fired?
Honestly, maybe. Is that a terrible idea?
Bring me year 1 Tibbs in Sacramento.
Like, would it be crazy if Tibbs went there and all of a sudden they're like a top 12 defense? Would it really shock us?
No, I want to see it, and then I want to see it all crumble in year 2. I want to
But
see
hey, the first year will make it all worth it.
it will. The Kings fans will go crazy, and Vivek will be very happy.
That
Uh,
seriously is a good idea. I actually like that idea.
Thank you. That's my idea. I had it right now.
Let's go.
Did you see the Jake Fisher report on Bleacher Report?
I did about the Lakers.
Yes, he says is reporting that the Los Angeles Lakers and Russell Westbrook have mutual interest in parting ways this coming off season.
The follow-up to that was the most interesting part, though, because there was some optimism that they could still trade him because they'll have an extra first-round pick. But then him saying that the most likely scenario is that they would just waive and stretch him.
Yeah.
Which that'd be, I think that's a year plus 1, so it'd be 3 years. So you spread that $48 million over 3 years, which is a lot. That's a lot of money. That's $16 million
when you're trying to
a
compete
year.
when you're trying to compete for a title, and you already don't have the right pieces yet, and you have just 16 million of your cap just as nothing.
And it I guess part of it doesn't really matter because they would still be there. They'd be within 2.5 million of the tax. And so it would open them up to sign some of these deals that are available around there. But still,
you're full mid-level though.
Yeah, I wouldn't care as much about the dead money next year. It's just beyond that, having to deal with that 16 million in year 2 and 3. I don't know. I don't know how they trade them.
Yeah,
but because I would not want to go into the summer and then do the John Wall trade,
and
then just expect that that's going to fix anything. Who at that point will have played 60 games in 3 seasons or something.
I can't believe that we could have another John Wall, Russell Westbrook trade.
Brutal, man. I mean, for Russ's sake, I hope they do the wave and stretch.
Yeah.
So that whatever team decides to go all in with Russ, it will be a mutual thing.
This was a mutual thing.
No, I know, but
this definitely was a mutual thing. Russell was a Laker before he was a Laker.
I know, but for Russ's sake, I don't want him to get traded to another place where they're doing it more like if he went to Houston, they're doing that to try to get a pick. They don't really care about Russ.
Yeah, but you think they would waive him?
They're not waiving John Wall.
I know, but I mean, it's Russell Westbrook versus John Wall. John Wall is used to sitting out. Russell doesn't sit out. You know what I mean?
He would cause a stink if they made him.
You think? Yeah, you think he would if the Rockets told him, "Hey, I want you to go home."
Hell, they might play him, Andrew. They might play him. It'll be him and Schroeder and Jalen Green, the 3-guard lineup.
I can't wait for the
Russell
Christian Wood pick and roll combo.
There'll be some good vibes.
It would actually be some of the most toxic vibes in the NBA if that happened.
But arguably, one of the better center fits with Russ in recent memory.
Please stop.
Maybe.
Please stop.
I don't like Christian Wood, but still.
Christian Wood he's absolute toxin to your team. Just inject toxic vibes into your team. That's what Christian Wood is. It's crazy.
Okay, you want to go through some stats?
Hey, let's take a quick break before we go to some stats. And we're back from that quick break. Time for some stats.
Okay, so these are just some stats. 8 of them, Andrew. This is almost like a mini Andrew versus the beat, but it's Andrew versus Andrew.
Okay.
So these are some questions I've come up with based on how the team's been playing recently, because oftentimes, I just ate a huge bowl of macaroni, and it's coming back up as I'm speaking.
Macaroni?
Yeah, I had macaroni for breakfast.
For breakfast with cheese or just plain noodles?
No, it had meat sauce.
Meats. Was this leftovers?
Yeah, leftovers.
Okay, all right.
And then I can't do dairy, So I have to put nutritional yeast as my Parmesan. It's really sad, but it's better than nothing. Has a lot of B vitamins though.
Oh, nice. Nice.
No, I was gonna say, you watch these guys and you get an idea of them in your head, and it
Yeah.
kind of gets locked in, and that's happened multiple times for me personally, where I'll just like I get an opinion of a guy, and then that's just who he is, and then I'll go look at the stats over a stretch and be like, oh, he's not that at all.
Uh-huh.
He's actually the opposite of that. So we're just going to talk about some of these, and some of these are in here to fool you. So they're not
Okay.
all like negative. Some of these are very good. Okay.
Mhm.
So bench bays. Let's talk about bench bays.
Okay.
True shooting in December. This was when he made the switch to the bench.
Mm-hmm.
11 games. He actually made 7 starts, but that's when he started to go to the bench. His true shooting was 56.3%. League average this year is 56.1%. So that was a big deal for Bays to get over the average true shooting percentage in the league. That was exciting. January, 13 games, only started 2 of those. So now full bench Bays. Bench Bays. True shooting holds strong, 55.2%.
Mm-hmm.
Dropped a little under league average, but pretty close.
Yeah.
And we're still
Fine.
feeling good. This is peak bench Bays.
Yeah.
Based on that, he learned a lot when he was on the bench. He comes into February, 12 games, but now he has to start a lot. 11 starts.
Yeah.
Did he bring what he learned on the bench? Did he bring that with him when he came back as a starter? What do you think his true shooting percentage was in February? 12 games, 11 starts.
Gosh, he was so up and down because he was really good at the start and then has been pretty bad after the break. I'll say that he did bring it with him.
He did not.
No.
His true shooting percentage in February has been 48%.
Oh, no. I feel
Which
like
is-
he had a couple good games in February. Am I wrong?
I mean, perhaps he did, but that kind of surprised me because
Yeah.
we have these blocks of games. I mean, that was 24 games across December and January,
Yeah.
where offensively, obviously, he's been playing very well defensively throughout this whole period.
Mm-hmm.
Offensively, we were feeling pretty high because it felt like, okay, he's figuring it out. He knows what he's doing. He's doing the right things. And arguably, he's still doing those right things. It's just his percentages have come back down. Like he's now shooting in February, shot 50% at the rim. So like a significant drop off there. Because I think I forget what it was back in December, January, but I think he was in like the 60s.
Yeah.
And the threes have never gone in. So that hasn't, even when he was playing well, even when his true shooting percentage was up, he wasn't necessarily hitting his threes.
Yeah.
So it all comes back to that finishing around the rim with him. And he has tailed off. And again, it's so weird that it's when he starts. Like that's the like main thing you can point to. When he's off the bench, everything just works a little bit better for him as far as finishing.
Yeah. There's not really a redeemable shooting stat for Baisley this season.
There's not. There's other things. I mean, we've talked about his defense and him becoming like a legitimately good shot blocker in this league.
Yeah.
Has been like a really impressive development.
Mm-hmm.
And he is obviously a part of them being a good defense.
Mm-hmm.
Because who else is? Like who individually are you super excited about? Like Bays is probably at the top of that list because Dort's been out a lot. Like it's been Bays. But offensively, it seems to be tailing back off. It's just something to watch going forward.
Yeah.
Keep an eye on it in March. Let's see if he bounces back. Bounce back Bays. That sounds good.
There hadn't been a lot of juice with Bays recently. Like the Kings game, he was just kind of there.
Yeah. Dude, I think he needs the energy of the bench. The bench gives him superpowers.
The problem is, who do you start? Who do you start now?
Favors Sarr.
He didn't play Favors the other night against Domas.
Yeah, this is why other guys need to come back so that we can get bench Bays again.
Start Poku.
Okay, number 2. In February, 12 games. What would you guess Trey Mann's percentage at the rim was? So finishing at the rim.
In February?
Yeah, just off the top of your head, it's 12 games. He's starting to get some buzz. KOC wrote a nice little blurb about him.
Mm-hmm.
Jackson Frank sharing clips of Trey Mann in his bag. Andrew,
It must be not good. 48%.
you're about 10 percentage points too high. He's shooting 38.5% at the rim. And this was probably the most shocking stat to me because we've talked about Bays, how like the mechanics are kind of weird, and maybe that explains
Mm-hmm.
the finishing at the rim. We've talked about Dort, how it seems like he just doesn't have that touch, and when he's just barreling towards the rim, it's very hard for him to just get that nice touch at the very end.
Mm-hmm.
Trey Mann, like if you watch any of his finishes, even the ones that don't go in, like they look good. Like
that's the thing about Trey is that everything he does looks good, and I always look at the stat sheet and like, oh, like I'm always disappointed when I look at his stat sheet after watching him play for 10 minutes. I'm like, oh yeah, how does he only have 4 points? Like he did some beautiful things out there.
Like he had a few moves against Muves. He had a few moves against the Kings where he like would perfectly get to the rim, and then it just like kind of bounces out.
Yep.
And so I'm not freaking out about it. He's a rookie, but who cares? But I just was kind of shocked at how bad, like 38.5% is like absurd. And I get that it's a small sample size, it's 12 games, but this is the period when we've been excited about Trey. So for him to be that bad while looking as good as he is, it was just kind of a shock.
Yeah. The only guys that have shot worse from 0 to 3 feet this season, Darius Baisley, 55.9%. That's so bad for a big guy. Olivier Sarr is 50%.
Oh, really?
Very limited attempts. Ty Jerome is 47% on the season, and Teo's 43% to Trey Mann's 57% at the rim. So,
yeah. So just something to watch.
mm-hmm.
Everything looks beautiful, but can he start finishing some of these?
Yeah.
Okay, next one. What do you think is SGA's longest streak in his career shooting over 50% from the field? So how many games in a row?
Say it again. I'm sorry.
How many games in a row, longest streak in his career, SGA shooting over 50% from the field?
Oh. 10. I don't know.
4. Only 4. He's done it 5 times, but he is currently on a streak.
Yes.
So he could tie his personal record against Denver. He's had 3 in a row, right?
Yeah, 3 in a row.
Although what did he do right before? I have it written down that he could actually set his personal record. Is that true, Andrew? I'm going to go look at his game logs. Here we go. Nope. Okay. He's had 3 in a row. So he can tie it against Denver. Just wanted to bring this up to say that like what we're seeing from Shea right now. And obviously he hit his threes in the game against the Kings. He didn't hit his threes in those first 2 games. Like he was 1 or 5 in both games. But what he's doing in terms of getting to the line, being aggressive, like it's peak Shea. Like that part of his game is as good as it's ever been right now since coming back from injury.
Yeah, he looks like one of the best guards in the NBA right now.
Yeah, he does. And it's starting to come through with some of these streaks. Like another streak is the 30-point streak, like because he's had 3 games in a row now. That's another thing where he will set a record if he does it again, a personal record, if he does it again against Denver.
And I mean, he has to take 20 shots, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, what's amazing is he only took 16 shots against the Kings. The 16 shots, 37 points on 16 shots is so impressive. Like that's the kind of player that we saw last season before he went out. And we hadn't seen a whole lot of like crazy efficient Shea this year. Yeah. And he even said that his conditioning is better now. And that's one
really?
Why that he said he just
really?
And then also, I don't know that if you saw what Mark said about his shooting yesterday. I thought this was really, really interesting. He said that if you take away all of the end of shot clock threes from Shea's stats, that he's shooting in the mid 30s from 3 this season. So like 35 or 36%. He said that a lot of times at the beginning of the seasons, this is something they've been telling him to do is that they would get into their actions kind of slowly. And so a lot of times you run action number one, it doesn't work. The ball just fizzes around the perimeter and it ends up in Shea's hands with 2 seconds left on the shot clock, and he just has to fire something away.
Right.
So like that was killing his percentages. And he said, so now, right now, they're trying to emphasize Shea getting into actions a lot faster, and that he's not going to end up with the ball at the end and kill his percentages. So I think that Mark kind of eased some concerns, I think, or at least should have eased some concerns for Thunder fans about his shooting, because I think that he's probably closer to like a 37-38% 3-point shooter probably for his career. And he hasn't been that far away from that if you just give him like real shots within the offense.
Next one. How many players average more free throw attempts per game than Shea? How many players in the league? What would you guess? Just throw a number out. How many players do you think are averaging more free throw attempts per game?
5.
Pretty close. 7. It's only Ja, Luka, DeMar, Harden, Jimmy Butler, Giannis, and Embiid.
Wow.
Those are the only players in the NBA who average more free throw attempts per game than Shea.
That's a superstar list right there, Al.
That is a superstar list. I mean, those are all all-star. I was about to say, are they all all-star starters? It's pretty close. I don't think Jimmy Butler was. But yeah, those are all all-stars, obviously. And you look at some of the guys he's ahead of, like, you know, he's now ahead of Trae Young, who was kind of like the free throw guy last year.
Yep.
It's just really impressive. I mean, I remember at the beginning of last year, when we still didn't know what we had with SGA, we were saying what could be his elite skill.
Yeah.
It's clear now that it is getting to the rim.
Yeah.
And getting to the line.
Yeah. And with like the rules, and I know that they've changed them some, but that's part of the reason why Trae Young isn't crazy high on this list, because they changed a couple of rules that were basically little cheat codes for Trae Young. So
little cheat codes, except Harden's still up there. How about that? Hasn't phased the beard.
James is just different though. Like he gets fouled a lot
He's
differently.
thick.
He's really thick. He's good, man. He's
great.
been really good.
And actually, that brings us to our next question. How many players in the league have a higher frequency of isolation plays than SGA? So players that actually run, who runs more ISO than Shea in the league?
Oh man. Just a number?
Yeah, it's a percentage, like a percentage of their possessions that they are.
I mean, I'm giving you a number of players.
You're giving me a number of just players who are higher than Shea.
4.
0. Now, this is partially one because James Harden in Brooklyn did run more ISO than SGA. So we'll see if that holds true in Philly. It hasn't in these first couple of games.
The whole season.
Yeah. Over the whole season, James Harden would be one. SGA, 28.6% of his plays are ISO. And just to put that in perspective, they only do this stat back, I think, 5 years.
Yeah.
There are only 2 players who have had an ISO frequency above that in the last half decade, and it's CP3 and Harden. That's it. Like in 17-18, Harden, CP3, 17-18, Harden and CP3, 18-19. Like those Houston teams.
Yeah, where it was just like, go get yours. Yeah.
Dude, 18-19, Harden's frequency was 48.7%.
Holy smokes.
Half of his shots were ISO.
It sounds right, though. I remember watching those teams, and you're just like, oh my gosh, this is so miserable.
Or half of his plays, not half the shots.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then 19-20, he was at 45%. Since moving to Brooklyn, it's declined 33 and 31, but he's still like far above everyone else. I just thought it was shocking that like SGA's ISOs are that high.
Yeah.
Like no one's close to him.
Yeah, and a lot of it is just the talent that's here, is that they don't have any true play finishers. They've got some guys that are trying some stuff, but honestly, the best offense might be ISO Shea, and it's still the worst offense in the NBA.
Yeah, so I was gonna say, if you go and look at like points per possession, he's actually only in like the 68th. It's the 60. Oh, let's be honest, it's the 69th percentile. I didn't want to say it, but it is the 69th percentile.
Nice.
But I don't really chalk that up to like as a negative. Like Harden is in the 80-something percentile. For me, it does have to do with like once he starts driving, the defense can just suck in to the paint because nothing else matters.
What else do you? Yeah, even right now, there's nothing to be afraid of, and there really was never anything to be afraid of within the Thunder offense. But now there's really nothing but him. You know, if Trey Mann beats you in a game, like so be it. I mean, that's kind of how Indiana handled it, and they lost. But it was just like if somebody else actually beats us, you know, we'll shake their hand after the game.
God, that was so funny seeing Lance Stevenson hit the game-tying shot and then using that as fuel to do whatever the hell he did in overtime was so funny. Okay.
It was very Lance. Yeah.
So Shea's running a bunch of ISOs. They're not wildly successful, but you think that they will be in the future when he is surrounded by better teammates.
Mm-hmm.
No one would really be worried about that. Okay, next one. Here we're getting some fun ones, Andrew. What did Poku shoot in the restricted area in February? Now, I will let you know beforehand, February, probably Poku's best month playing NBA basketball.
Yeah. 77%.
That sounds high, but it's pretty close. 72% Poku was in the restricted area.
He was quite good.
He was quite good. Overall true shooting percentage just in February, 57.4%. That is above league average.
Feels good.
That's exciting because it hasn't been like that ever over an extended period of time. And this is still a small sample, but you know, it's a month. We got a month of good Poku, and that's something to celebrate.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going back because you can actually like watch all of his shot attempts in the month of February. So I was going back and looking through those. And the thing that pops off is him being super aggressive and confident in transition.
Yeah.
Like he's trying to get to the rim every time.
Yep.
And I think it makes the defenders, like it kind of throws them for a loop. Like they are not expecting it.
Mm-hmm.
And he has all these crafty finishes. I'm excited. He's also been shooting well from the corners, which is good because we talked about last year how it felt like Poku was playing like an alpha. It feels more similar to Bays, as we've talked about over the course of the year. Poku is being more confined.
Yeah.
They've got him playing a role right now, and he's doing better. And maybe if he gets good at that role, then we will see an expanded arsenal from Poku reemerge.
Yeah.
But I'm pleased.
Yeah.
For right now.
Yeah. We just wanted to see some progress this season, right?
Some progress.
I mean, we didn't need him to be great, but
we didn't need him to be Giannis.
No, we don't need him to be honest. He's not going to be honest.
I mean, we do need him to be honest.
Yeah, we do, but he's not going to be. And it was looking bleak through the first portion of this season, where it was just like, oh no, what have they done with Poku?
They just have to send him to the G League every year. He like goes there, he recharges, he like relearns how to play basketball. He comes back, he always looks better.
I know.
That's his secret sauce.
Just send him to the G League this summer, right? All summer. Let the boy play summer league. That would
okay. Please, yes, please. Can we get Poku in summer league? I don't want to hear any more about. We're built. He's going to be ripped. We got a strength program.
That did not help me psychologically this summer.
Well, because they built us all up. They were like, "Oh, we can't even send him to summer league because what he's doing is so important."
I know. It put me in a really bad place for myself mentally. It set me up for just some extreme failure later.
Yeah, it was unfair, and it was unfair to him. It was unfair to us. Let us see Poku in summer league. That's where he would shine. We know he would shine there.
Yes.
And if you had a summer league team that's just the Thunder without Shea, that would be fun.
Let's go. I'm in. I don't think they're gonna send Josh to summer league.
Really? Who's gonna be our guard?
Trey.
Oh, okay. I forgot about Trey. I was thinking they're gonna send Teo back out there.
They may
By
draft
the,
Jaden Ivey.
by the way, Teo at the rim didn't even want to bring it up, but I'll just say it's been worse than Trey.
On the season, he's 43%.
It's
He
been worse than
dunked.
that
He
lately.
dunked in that last game. He has 1 dunk on the season. He has 2 dunks for his career.
Okay.
Congratulations, Teo Maladon.
Olivier Sarr, he's like been the first rim threat OKC has had. I noticed in that Kings game they were like trying to throw him lobs.
Yeah.
It sort of worked. Okay, next, everyone's been talking about the SGA and Giddey pairing.
Yes.
If you weren't aware, the net rating of the team when both of those guys are playing is negative 9.7. That's in 907 minutes. Not good, but we've talked about this before. You know, it's early. We were excited to see because it felt like the team was changing their approach a little bit. Mark brought it up in a press conference.
Yeah.
So that's what we were excited to see because maybe that would have affected the net rating, but now we don't get to see it because Giddey has a sore hip. Okay. What do you think the net rating of OKC is when SGA is on but Giddey is off? This is 578 minutes.
Plus 5.
No, that would be insane, Andrew. If they were plus 5 in 578 minutes, they probably have like more wins. It's plus 0.7. Plus 0.7.
I'm thinking of a different number.
It just went down. It was like plus 2, but after that Kings game, specifically the fourth quarter, it like dropped 2 points. These are all small sample sizes, but I just watching that Kings game, especially early on, like it just felt like things fit for Shea. Like everything made sense for Shea.
Yeah.
In the same way that when Shea was out, everything made sense for Giddey. And again, that's not to say that anyone's giving up on this pairing. It's just to say that it doesn't look as awkward when it's just one of them out there, and it kind of makes sense briefly, and that shows up in the stats.
Yeah. Shea is plus 2.5 on the season on cleaning the glass.
Oh, good. Well, that probably wiped out that because that basically was what it was before the Sacramento fourth quarter, which would have all been garbage time, probably. Yeah. So I thought that was interesting. But here we go. Here's a little game for you, Andrew. So all these net ratings are with SGA on the court. I'm going to name a second player in the same way we just talked about Giddey. You tell me whether the team is better with that player on or off of the court. So Shea's on the court no matter what. Is the team better on or off with these following players? Lou Dort.
Worse.
That is true. Minus 6.3 when Shea and Dort are together. Minus 3.9 when it's just Shea. That's pretty close, though. And I will say actually, it's not the closest of all these, but that's pretty close. Base.
Much worse.
Much worse. Minus 9.1 when it's Baze and Shea. Minus 1.7 when it's just Shea. Wiggins.
Better.
Worse. Minus 7.7 when they're together. Minus 5.5 when it's just Shea. But pretty close.
Whoa.
I know. That was kind of surprising. Trey Mann. At this point, you're wondering, like, is anyone good on the court with Shea? Trey Mann.
He's got to be. I think it's probably worse, but it can't be that bad. Is it that bad?
Better.
Okay.
Here we go. Trey Mann and Shea on the court together, minus 2.5. Now, it's still not good in the big scheme, but Shea by himself without Trey Mann, minus 6. Now, that's the fewest amount of minutes. They've only played 354 minutes together.
Hey,
but
on a run. Yeah.
that is still more than Jalen Green and Alperen Şengün have gotten together. Isn't that unbelievable?
In your face, Rockets fans.
In your face, Rockets. Can you imagine?
I'd be so mad. I don't know how and I know a lot of Rockets people are just like so excited and yada yada, and there's a lot of
Yada.
But it is not a good situation. I don't know how you could watch that team and see what they're doing and just be like, man, this is great. Like they're just doing just the best job. I don't know how you could think that. I think the people that think that are just out of their minds.
It drives me wild because like, okay, fine. If there was like the perfect big for Jalen Green out there
Mhm.
to become better as a guard and he's more of a vet, fine. But like, what is Christian Wood offering that's so much better than what Şengün is offering offensively?
Oh, just a bad attitude.
Bad attitude. Like, I get that he can do pick and pop, but like Şengün, like develop him. Develop your guy with the guy he's going to play with for the rest of his career. Like, don't you drafted both of these guys in the top 16 picks. You don't want to play them together? See what it looks like?
Traded 2 first-rounders.
Trade 2 firsts, and they have played fewer minutes than Trey Mann and SGA, who, like, Mann didn't play at the beginning of the season. This is all minutes from just recently, and they've still played more minutes than that pairing.
Man played in the G League.
It's just, it bothers me so much. Shea's played more minutes with Aaron Wiggins, who's like a 55th pick, and they can't find time.
It's the dumbest thing. It's the absolute dumbest thing.
And then you see Şengün with his quote last night. It was like, we don't get a lot of minutes together, but it's like, what's the point? Like, when are you going to play them together? When, if not now?
Yeah.
What are you waiting for?
Yeah, and it's not. I mean, you can even argue that like playing Shea and Trey Mann together, like not the greatest idea. Like neither of them play very good defense. They're both want the ball in their hands. Blah blah blah. Like whatever. But a guard and a big, it ain't that hard.
Just do it.
Just make it happen.
Your defense sucks no matter what. It does not matter.
The team sucks no matter what.
So I looked it up because I did the same thing for Jalen Green and Şengün. And listen, it's bad. It's a negative 19 net rating. Do you know what the combo is with Jalen Green and Christian Wood? Minus 15. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
All right. Anyways, last stat. Aaron Wiggins, aforementioned. His true shooting in 2021, the year 2021, 17 games, about half the season for him, 66.1%. Now, remember earlier we said league average was 56.1.
Yeah.
10 percentage points above league average.
Wow.
In 2021, as a second-round pick, coming into the league, starting to get minutes. What do you think his true shooting percentage is in 2022, which is 23 games?
I feel like it's not been good.
How bad is it?
57%.
50.
Yeah, he's not been good recently. Shooting the ball, and especially the 3 ball, it's not looked good lately.
Yeah, so some comparisons. So corner threes, these are just comparing 2021 to 2022. 2021, he shot 41.7% from corner threes. And that was the point when we were getting excited, because it's like, because he's offering so much defensively.
Yeah.
If he's going to do that and he can hit a corner 3 at 40%, like, we're done. Like, sign him up.
It's over.
It'd
be great.
2022, he's shooting 27.6% just on corner threes. Just on corner, like the shot he needs to make.
Yeah.
Restricted area. Now this is he must have not taken that many shots. Apparently in 17 games in 2021, he was shooting 94.4% in the restricted area. 94.4.
Huh.
But he is in 2022 shooting 53.8.
Yeah.
Now that's hard to really compare, but just to say that like everything is coming back down to earth. But again, he's a rookie. He's a second rounder. It could be a rookie wall. I mean, that's could totally be a thing where he's hitting his personal rookie wall right now. He's getting more time. He's playing before he like turned his ankle. He's also been dealing with injuries. Like, there are things that you can excuse some of this, but it's still something to keep an eye on going forward, because the idea of him that we got so excited about in December-ish time was, wow, this guy is a force on the defensive end. He looks like a plus-minus king, and he's able to hit corner threes. Like, there's really nothing else you could ask for from a 55th pick.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of development to happen there with him. And he's on basically this, I think he has 1 year guaranteed, but then it's not.
Yeah, I think so.
After that. So it's very low risk for the Thunder. If he works out, great. If he doesn't, It's not a big deal. They could even waive him next year if they wanted to, and it wouldn't be a big deal.
So those are just. I hope those stats will just bring up some things you could pay attention to the rest of the season, especially if Giddey's going to be out. Like, what are we looking at? I think Trey Mann's finishing is probably the most interesting to me,
Yeah.
just because it looks so good in comparison to everyone else on the team other than Shea. And if some of those start falling, like it's really going to significantly improve everything for him.
Yeah.
Because if he has like that in between craft, like like that move he did against the Kings, where he like caught the ball and it looked like he was going backwards, and then he just immediately blew by the guy.
His hezzy move, yeah, it was
that was incredible.
It was really
left him in the dust.
Everything he does is cool.
Everything.
He's one of the coolest players to watch on the court. Yeah, he's awesome. He's got to be more efficient if he wants to be the guy that everybody in Oklahoma City thinks he already is. Like, he just has to be more efficient. I mean, he's 38% from the field right now. Like, that's not acceptable.
And I think the part you're not worried about is the 3-point shot. Like, I don't even really care what the percentage is right now because it looks so good.
He's 36% on 4 attempts. Like, that's acceptable.
Right, but like I see that and I'm like, I don't even care. He's going to be a 40% shooter. Like, he is that good.
Yeah.
In fact, did you see that B-ball index? I love when some of these stat companies, they post their their kind of like stats about something random.
Yeah.
And I don't even click the link. It's just like if it says something that I like, I will retweet it. and they did all the rookies, they give them a score based on their perimeter shooting.
Yeah.
Like A to F, I guess.
Yeah.
And he, along with Chris Duarte, were the only rookies that were an A+. A+. Now, do I have any idea what that actual stat is based on?
What does that mean? I don't know.
No, not at all. But guess what? Trey Mann has an A+, which is very good.
We did it. Good job, Sam. You got yourself an A+. That's
higher than Cade Cunningham, who got an A. Quentin Grimes, A-. Franz Wagner, A-.
Yeah.
And then they also did top rookies in our finishing talent metric. Guess who's number one?
Josh Giddey.
No, but actually Josh Giddey is a B, which
he's been good.
Solid.
Yeah, he's been good.
No, it's Şengün, who they never play. He's A+. He's an A+, tied with Scotty Barnes, one of the best finishers in this class, and they don't want to see what it might look like with their number 2 overall pick.
It's great. It's wonderful.
Now I did want to bring up something with you, Andrew, because this was brought up to me, and I've been thinking about it a lot lately because people are talking about the Giddey SGA pairing.
Yeah,
it's a hot topic right now.
It is
hot topic. Did you ever buy any band shirts at Hot Topic?
Oh yeah. I went to a Dashboard Confessional concert last night. It made me think of Hot Topic.
Oh really? We used to buy our like Atticus clothes there.
Oh yeah. It's not there anymore, by the way.
Really? Is the entire business gone?
I don't know if the entire Hot Topic. I would guess not.
I feel like they got swallowed up by Zoomies. I feel like Zoomies came along and was like, we're Hot Topic for the modern age. Now they're probably washed. I don't know what the hot store is now.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's not there.
Maybe PacSun is back.
I think PacSun never left.
Whoa. They're the only ones that made it through 20 decades. Anyways, I think it's perfectly reasonable to have concerns about the pairing while also saying it's early, let's obviously give it time. Let's see what happens. But Dennis Todman, who is one of our listeners who lives in DC,
okay,
he sent me this a few weeks ago, and I just thought it was kind of interesting about the Magic.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Magic are not good. They're at like 15 or 16 wins. By net rating, they're much worse than the Thunder.
Yeah.
They're a terrible team.
They stink. Yeah.
But in many ways, very similar to the Thunder. They're playing young guys and seeing what happens and trying all these different lineups. And they have a lot of young guys to try.
Yeah.
And are actually playing them, unlike the Rockets. But what is interesting, Markel's back. Very exciting. What is interesting is that if you do these same type of pairings with the Magic rookies, the Magic young guys, almost across the board, they are positive. And so Dennis was just asking the question, like, yes, I'm not worried about Giddey and SGA, but like we can acknowledge that it is possible for rookies and young guys to play well together, like on bad teams. Like it does happen. And it kind of blew my mind looking at some of these comparisons. Like if you do Franz Wagner with like any of their guards, like even Jalen Suggs, who we think of as having this really underwhelming year, it's much better with them together than it is when Suggs is off the court, which is kind of wild. It would not be what I would think it would be. I would think, well, they must, their rookies must not be playing well together in the same way that just happens with every team. And I'm not saying this is as a negative for OKC, but more as a positive for the Magic. Like if you're a Magic fan and you're going through these stats, even though they have 16 wins, you can kind of feel like we might already have something with these combos in terms of fit. Like they're already playing better together than when they're apart.
Yeah.
I just thought that was interesting as a comparison.
Yeah. Suggs has been good defensively this year.
Yeah.
So he's still trying to figure stuff out on the other end, but
yeah, he had that wild line.
He did.
The one, what he has like 6 fouls in how much time?
It makes me saying he's trying to figure it out as like the understatement of the year. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, it was one of those lines that you usually will see for like a role player.
Yeah.
And that's like the only thing you'll ever hear about them in their career. It's like, wow, remember when Tony Snell put up this insane stat line?
Yeah, Tony Snell in 25 minutes was zeros across the board. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, this was this is a truly incredible stat line. 15 minutes, 2 points, 0 assists, 1 rebounds, 6 turnovers, 6 fouls, and 1 alley-oop to himself off the glass. 6 turnovers, 6 fouls in 15 minutes. If Giddey did that, like I would overreact is what I'm saying. I would go crazy and be like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Like if the Thunder's star rookie put up something like that, it's just like an unbelievable stat.
It's so funny. I think we would be very sad. Even if it was Trey Mann that put up a stat like that, we'd be like, yikes.
Yeah.
Yikes.
And yet, lineups still good with him on the court when you compare him with the other young guys. So
I was going to say he didn't add to the bottom of that stat line +5 in those minutes.
Actually, this says -21.
I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay.
Oh man, thanks so much for listening to our show. Go follow Alex on Twitter at AlBabyCakes. You can follow me on Twitter at AndrewKSchleck. Leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Slam and Jam this week. If you don't subscribe to the Athletic NBA show, please do that. This Saturday we have a little check-in with Sam Vecini on the NBA draft. So get ready for that. Should be pretty fun. And we will talk to you guys again on Friday.